Hey y'all, it's Saint Pam again. Today I'm going to take a look at how Octavia is played. Now, this is my favorite frame in the game. She is my warfu, if you will. um, so, yeah, hopefully you'll get something from this video. We're going to primarily be talking about her abilities and a little bit about her modding, and then I will have a clip of me playing her on a defense mission. So hopefully all of that will help to showcase how she works, what she can do, and all of that. So let's get started. Now, one important thing to understand about Octavia is that she is a support frame. If she is played well and in an optimal group, she can bring a lot of damage. She can even top the damage charts, but you have to play her right. If you're in a group with people who have hard CCs, like a Banshee that spams number 4, a Volt that spams his number 4, things like that, Nyx, because they may not attack the rollerball because they're fighting each other too much, then that's going to have an effect on your DPS, because a lot of the DPS does come from the rollerball and mallet combo. But in an optimal group, if you're really the only hard or hard-ish CC, I guess, then you can put out a lot of damage. However, that really isn't the point of her. 2 of her abilities give buffs. One is just a straight crowd control, and one is crowd control that also kind of deals damage. So I think it's pretty clear that DPS really isn't her main focus. So let's take a look at her abilities. Her number 1 is the mallet, and it causes damage in time with the beat while also drawing enemy fire. This is the CC that also happens to do damage. A faster song with this won't do a lot of damage per tick, but it will do that damage quickly. While a slower song, on the other hand, it's going to do damage slowly, but it will do more per tick. Now, this can be increased while enemies are attacking it, because the more damage that the enemies do to the mallet, the more damage the mallet puts out. So it actually scales pretty well in the higher levels. Her number 2 is the resonator. This is what I call the rollerball. I'm sure other people do too. I don't know. I call it the rollerball, whether anyone else does or not. Now this one rolls around the map, charming enemies to follow it. If you combine this with the mallet, then you've created your very own rolling murderous dance party, because they will follow it around, attacking it and essentially just causing damage to themselves, because both the rollerball and the mallet are indestructible. They cannot be damaged. They will last however long your duration allows them to. The number 3 is the metronome, and the speed of your song can make a huge difference here. This ability grants you and your squad buffs based off of the specific actions you're doing. The catch is that you have to do this stuff in time with the music. So, oddly enough, faster songs tend to be easier to keep time with than slower songs. The default songs that come with it are okay, but really something faster is better. Jumping gives you a speed boost. Now this is actually kind of hard to get because of the way the jumping works. It's hard to get this boost. I've gotten it a couple of times. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to get that better or more easily, I'm all ears. But yeah. Crouching gives you stealth. This is the one that most people want to be able to keep time with because they want to be invisible. It's better for survivability. And people tend to have an easier time doing this with faster songs. Shooting grants multi-shot, and melee gives a damage buff. Her number 4 is the amp. The strength of this ability depends on how loud the environment around it is. You can stack this with the mallet to ensure there is enough sound to increase its strength. Now, this is another place where the partition mod for her comes in really handy, especially if you're like on a defense mission. I drop the amp with the mallet on top of it, and then I'll move outside of the mallet's range and drop the rollerball and mallet. And the reason I do that is to ensure that the rollerball doesn't pick up the wrong one, because it will. Now this reason that you want the sound increased is because it gives a bigger damage buff to the squad if the ability itself has more strength. Now the squad does have to be within it, but hey, damage buff, it's awesome. The amp also doubles the range and damage of the mallet. I have seen this work on Oberon's grass as well, but I don't know if that's been changed. I'm going to have to do some work with that to see if that's been altered, but I've seen that actually increase the coverage that Oberon's grass has gotten. Not sure if it works with the Night Assist stuff, but it definitely does affect her mallet and hopefully some other people's stuff too. Alright, now Octavia has a really beneficial passive. When she casts any ability, she grants a 30-second buff that regenerates 1 energy per second. When I looked into this, because I knew about it, I didn't know this part. This is actually affected by transference as well. So you can really stack this up. If you have Zeneric, then you transfer out of your body, you get Octavia's buff, you do the dash, and then you also get the buff from Zeneric to increase your energy pretty quickly. So that's something to keep in mind if you're like me and you go through energy pretty quickly. So that's it on her abilities and everything. But let's take a look at her mods now. She benefits from power, strength, duration, and range. Personally, I think range is dependent on what you are doing. Her mallet and rollerball are a line of sight, so in my opinion, if you're going to be in a more cramped space, then you may want to trade out the range for something else. It's dependent on how you feel. You can see from my mods that I don't currently have any range on it. I may change that a little bit because the survival mods I have may not be needed as I get better with the stealth. And this is why. If you're stealthing, then obviously you're only really taking like AoE damage because the enemies aren't going to be shooting you. If you have a really good uptime on your stealth, then you could take out the survival mods just like with Loki or the other stealth frames and substitute that with just having quick thinking for if you have an oops moment. And then you can put other stuff in place of the survival mods. So that's kind of my opinion. Again, I really think that her partition pod is needed. It is highly recommended that that you get that, especially if you tend to run a lot of defense missions or interceptions or excavations, because it gives that option to have something around the target to protect it, but then also have the rollerball going around and serving as a secondary crowd control. So that's just my personal opinion there. Now you're going to see my gameplay from earlier. Hopefully you'll pick something up from that. because you'll see how I play her. I pretty much am constantly casting abilities. I like to keep the stuff up. I don't like to let it lapse if I can help it. So you may also, if you play like that, you may also want to consider energy mods like what I have. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask below in the comments, and you can also check me out on Twitch. That link is in the description below. I stream Warframe Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays guaranteed. Most of the time I'll be streaming it on Sunday as well, but I do sometimes alter that for different games. Anyway, you've got all of the various places you can follow me below, and I hope that you found this helpful. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a great night.
The enemy is at next up. You must defend our equipment until reinforcements arrive.
Close one. Strike. We have to win this.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting? Keep fighting. Another opportunity to